Have you ever wondered how to get better at miniature painting and at the same time speed your painting up? Well, after today, you'll know some fun ways to practice and how to get better at it. So without further ado, let's get started. As some of you know, a while back I painted myself half of a Space Wolves army. And even though I think they still look pretty freaking awesome, I have a few things I wish I'd done differently. And the main thing is, I feel like I spent way too much time finishing them. Yes, I know, I painted them in like a week, but for me, I felt like I wanted to paint them in like 3 days, not 7 days. So today, that's just what we're gonna do. We're gonna speed everything up, try to understand where to cut corners, and the best thing, showing you guys the entire process and making sure you know what the frick's up.
We've all got far too many miniatures we need to paint for our armies, and setting a time limit for yourself will help you get more of those minis painted. And in this video, I'll be painting Logan Grimnar that's just been released in the Warhammer 40,000 collectible card game Warp Forge.
So first things first, let's set a timer for 1.5 hours and then we can start the paint job. And people, today there won't be any focus whatsoever on neat blends or the paint job being neat overall. Instead, everything we'll focus on today would be having a striking color scheme, nice volumes and lighting, and a great composition. And a little side note, as always, all of the paints I'm using today can all be found in our amazing paint set that we've released alongside Vallejo. So make sure to check them out if you want to follow these tutorials with correct paints. And it really makes me happy knowing that you paint with my paints. So the first step will be to add some dark sea blue to the front of the mini using an airbrush. Once the blue is dry, we can add some hot orange to the back of the mini, making sure it's quite diluted so it's not too intense.
Meaning I don't have to paint 10 different colors on the mini. Everything will be almost monochrome where the glowing light hits the mini.
And as you can see here, if it bleeds over a little bit on the blue, it doesn't matter, as long as we only shoot it from the back of the mini.
One of the biggest cheat codes to save time is to add special effects.
So let's shoot some scarlet blood around the areas where the axe is angled and on the axe itself.
And you might think, hey, this means I have to paint a ton of extra light. But hear me out here. I'm gonna make the axe as if it's glowing hot orange. And if we make the light from it reflect on a bigger piece of the entire miniature, everything will be in that one color.
And even if this is a Speedy Gonzalez video, this is actually exactly how I do it, even when I'm painting my freaking Golden Demon entries. Now that we're done with the airbrush, we can super easily see that we have some nice lights going around and a nice composition, making an interesting piece. But before I move on painting with the regular brush, let's hear a word from this week's amazing sponsor, the Warhammer 40,000 collectible card game, Warp Forge. If you are like me and love collectible card games, and you also happen to love Warhammer 40,000, Warp Forge is definitely for you. If you haven't played it yet, Warp Forge is the official Warhammer 40,000 card battler. Totally free to play on mobile and PC. You can collect cards from all of your favorite factions, build custom decks and challenge players around the entire world. And right now, people, the Battle for Warp Forge event has now begun. And it just so happens to bring one of the most awesomest factions of the entire Warhammer 40,000 universe, the Space Wolves. So starting today, October 23rd, you can join 2 teams, and people, one of these 2 teams is actually our fucking Team Squidbar. So hurry the fuck up and help us crush the opponents. Every match you play earns points for your team, and yes, there are awesome rewards for anyone who takes part of the event. Plus, there might be some little bonus rewards for the winning team. I've been diving into matches, testing decks, and honestly, the tactical depth and the artworks are just insane. And just like the miniatures, the Space Wolves in the game are so fantastic. Just wait till you can see them in action. So if you want to try the game out, make sure to follow our link in the video description. The Battle for Warp Forge runs October 23rd through October 30th. Choose your team, fight for glory, and lead your faction to victory. But now, let's bring out the paintbrush and put some paint on Grimnar himself. By mixing dark sea blue and deck tan, we can quickly start building up some highlights on the armor. And here you can really tell we're not spending a lot of time on this. But as long as we place the highlights correctly, the end result will pretty much look like a pretty sweet cookie. Next up, we're gonna start building up the intensity and the lightiness of the OSL, simply adding some hot orange over the areas we painted with scarlet blood. Here we want to make sure that the highlights closer to the axe are bigger, and the further away from the axe they are, we make them smaller. And on the axe, we add this in all of the cracks and towards the center of the axe.
As you can see here on the mini, everything on Grimnar's left side is just red, orange and yellow, meaning that even the blue armor is this color. And because I can use the exact same paints on all of the areas, it's a lot faster. And I don't even have to balance the colors or go back and forth between different paints. This is just such a time saver. On top of that, it's already looking really cool considering the time spent.
To build up the intensity further, we simply add the moon yellow to the hot orange. For all of the OSL, we don't want to go brighter than a 50-50 mix. But on the axe itself, we can go to full moon yellow. This will really make sure to sell the effect that the axe is glowing and it's casting this vibrant orange light onto the miniature. Now, to get a feeling for the shoulder pads, let's bring out some Japanese uniform and the scarlet blood. Just covering the front of the shoulder pad with the Japanese uniform and scarlet blood. Here we keep in mind to not cross over the orange we sprayed from the back too much. Now, a big thing that's left to paint on the mini will be the pelt on his back and the two wolves by his sides. Now, normally when painting fur, it would take me ages because I sit there painting all of the small strands of hair separately. I need to make sure the light works, but not today, Steve. For instead of making detailed strokes, spending a lot of time on this, we just need to make sure it looks cool at first glance. So we bring out a large brush and some burnt red and start covering large areas. Here we want to follow the shape of the fur, making sure not to cover everything fully, but leave some glimpses of the dark sea blue visible. Next up, we'll bring out some Parasite Brown and start adding as highlights. Here we can use wet blending to our advantage to really make sure that we speed everything up and get a nice result. Then adding a bit of deck tan to the mix around the snout and ears, we can make it super interesting really fast. For the face, we use the same steps as we always use, so if you really want to dive deep and learn exactly how we paint faces, make sure to check out this freaking video. But obviously in this video we're not spending half as near as much time.
Now, making the face stand out is super important. If we get the focus on the weapon and the face, making those areas really sharp, it will create a nice contrast between the less important areas and the ones in the center, making it a lot easier to discern what's important when it's on the gaming table.
Now, for all of his facial hair, we really want something to help pull in the attention of the viewer and create a nice composition. So we mix some Japanese uniform, deck tan and a tiny bit of dark sea blue to tone it all down ever so slightly. Adding this to all of the strands of hair, making sure to leave some harsh shadows from the dark sea blue earlier. This is a fast way to build up nice looking hair and really pull the focus towards the face. And as you can see, the face is starting to stand out way more from the rest of the armor. There's one final thing we need to add to the hair to make it look even better. Simply add a bit more deck tan to the mix and adding this highlight to the most raised areas on the top of the head. Now there's just two more things we need to do before we can analyze the paint job, and the first of the two will be to paint all of the metallic parts. Here we're obviously looking to save a lot of time, so that means we cannot spend all this remaining time painting awesome looking NMM, so we're just gonna opt for TMM instead. So for all of the gold parts, let's cover them with glorious gold. And for the silver, we'll add some dark gunmetal, followed by a silver highlight. Once the gold is dry, we can add a super thin down wash, and first some skin ink, and then some dark sea blue to tie everything nicely together. Add a dry brush of sunny skin tone to the entire back of the miniature.
And the light on the wolves and the fur follows the same principle as the other parts. We want it to reflect a lot of the orange from the axe, saving us a ton of time from having to focus on details and having variation of tones. Once I added these to the base, however, it does feel like they're a little bit distracting, taking a lot of focus from the big man himself.
The last and final thing you've all been waiting for will be
To add some snow texture all over the base, followed by some blue and orange ink from either side.
Now that the mini is done, it's time for a grand reveal. So, I spent 1 hour and 26 minutes painting this miniature. Is it perfect? No, not by any means. But we do actually have a finished mini that we could play a game with. But maybe most importantly, I now feel like we might have a better understanding on how to break down my space wolves and save more time painting them. And we also might know better what works and does not work for the paint job. Now, what do I mean with all of this? Well, if we truly want to get faster and better at painting, we can't just keep doing the same thing as we always do. Instead, we actually need to challenge ourselves like we did today. And now, having stuff like this one where we can look at the media and say, having nice bright hair really helps pull focus towards the face of the miniature. And we also now know that having the slightly orangey brown wolves on the side of him might not work as well because it's a little bit distracting and pull too much focus from the miniature. So hopefully you guys have learned today that you need to push yourselves. It's not the end of the world if sometimes the end result isn't as neat as you might have wanted it, because you can always learn from your mistakes. Now, if you guys want to watch these videos a bit earlier, make sure to check out our Patreon, where we release these videos. You get to be part of the greatest community on the face of the planet. And also, you support us so that we can actually do this full-time for a living, like these guys. Oh my god, they're so awesome, especially the top donors. Also, a massive thanks to this week's sponsor, the Warhammer 40,000 collectible card game, Warp Forge. Make sure to follow the link in the video description to try out the game. And with that said, have a great day. Bye bye.